Hi everyone, good morning. Welcome back to Pine Hollow Auto Diagnostics. Today we have a 2009 Toyota Camry on this lot of used auction cars, I guess. So they, buy auction cars. Usually the reliable ones, like a lot of Toyota Camrys here. Fix them up and sell them for cheap. Anyways, this one's a crank no start. She asked me to look at it, and he said they couldn't pull any codes out of it. So, as you can see here, no check engine light. No, the engine doesn't sound too good when cranking. Before pulling any wiring diagrams or anything else, let's check the fuses. Auction cars, sometimes people pull fuses. So what you want to focus on is the EFI fuses. There's number 1, number 2, and number 3. So this row right here is going to be a 10 amp. So that side's hot, that side's hot. And I'm not sure if the relay didn't open, the other EFI fuses won't be hot. Let's check the other row. Basically just compare the fuse box to what's actually here. For example, we don't have AM2. I don't know if that's important or not. We do have the alternator S, ETCS, that's the throttle body. That's hot on both sides. Then we have a hazard, ignition, and steering lock. Check that out. No ignition fuse, no steering lock fuse. Now, do those have terminals on both sides? It doesn't look like it. This S horn fuse is missing. Look for fuses that have both terminals that are empty. So the only one I'm seeing right now is this S horn 7.5 amp. Security horn maybe. EFI main. That's there, that's hot. Don't see anything else suspicious. So where would you go next? Find the engine computer, check powers and grounds to the engine computer. Let's pull up a wiring diagram first. Well, interesting here. The diagram, the redrawn, is showing that EFI 2 fuse should be hot at all times. The OE diagram, these two red battery positive wires going to the ECM are coming from the EFI fuse. But are they hot at all times? Well, let's see what feeds these EFI fuses. So the EFI relay, yes, but it also comes from here, 30 amp EFI main fuse. Let's check that one, because our EFI 2 fuse and EFI 3 fuse were... Oh, this is confusing now. Are those hot at all times? They certainly should be. Oh, this is very confusing. EFI relay is fed by the EFI main fuse 30 amp. Then when it closes, then you have power to the circuit open relay and EFI fuse 2, ETCS, and 3. Oh, maybe the ETCS fuse is hot at all times and the 2 and 3 are controlled by the EFI relay. This is slightly confusing. Where's the ignition switch here? Is there an ignition power going to this ignition fuse hot and runner start? Yellow and green wire. So 1 and 9. Feeds the circuit open relay. There it is, ignition switch. Pin 28 yellow. ignition fuse 10 amp, instrument panel, left side of dash. Let's check this ignition fuse 10 amp. Alright, so ignition fuse 10 amp is right there, right in the middle. It's going to be this one right here. So hot on that side. Boom. Blown. See, with a wiring diagram and some common sense, you can get these problems pretty quickly. Let's plug in a 5 amp test light instead of that fuse, see if there's just short to ground. See if we can get this car started today. Alright, so I'm just using a 4 amp test light right now in the 4 amp setting. Let's turn the key. Is there check engine light back on? Sure is. Let's fire it up. Well, it fired up. I don't see any short to grounds here, so the fuse itself, yeah, you can see a bad spot. I don't know if that's just from age. It doesn't look like it exploded. Well, let's give this thing some gas, see if we can fire it up. Alright, here we go. We're going to give it some throttle. I don't know how long this car's been sitting here or at the auction. Let's see if it'll idle. Good old Toyota. Now we can do smart scan. You can see there is some current going through our lights, so I'll replace that with a regular fuse. Let's scan this thing for codes. So it looks like, are we out of the woods? Well, we've got it running. That's what the customer wanted. Might have some other issues, but it seems to run pretty smoothly. Charging at 14.6, that's good. This is a Kentucky vehicle. Does it have stability control? No. No smart key. 2009. Okay. Yep. Kentucky. Let's see what codes pop up. So only 7 modules in this thing, and the only code stored is lower high power supply voltage. We'll clear that out. Save it a report and tell the guy, hey, it runs. Uh-oh. Bright test light. We have a short to ground. The only thing I did was I turned up the HVAC. Is that going to blow our fuse? It just might. Let's see. Turn that off. Turn that on. Something shorting to ground? That's pretty nuts. I mean, we can only pass 5 amps through there, and this is supposed to be a 10 amp fuse. We can plug in a jumped fused wire with like a circuit breaker and monitor the current on there. See what this is all about. I think that might be normal. Alright, so I replaced the fuse with a jumper. And we got the amp clamp on there. Key on. 1.9 amps. Fires up fine. Let's see if we get that higher current again. Should be at least a few amps. We'll turn on the HVAC. Let's see, let's turn on all the accessories, lights, rear defog, radio, wipers. I don't see that because of the glare. It's not going above 1.5 amps. Oh, 5, 7, whoa, 18, 20, crap. Did you see, guys? Did you see that? 6, 13. Let me shut off the AC. I got a 30 amp fuse in there. Maybe I should pop in a 20 amp circuit breaker. Okay, that's really cool. We're not done with this car. Boom. What the hell is drawing that much current? You gotta look up at a power distribution diagram here. Uh-oh, now we're down to 0.3. Did something burn up? There's definitely an electrical smell. I think we burned something up. So that was a 30 amp fuse in there. We got up to 20 amps. Power distribution. Let's see what that wire is feeding. Car still starts and runs though. So, car still starts and runs just fine. But check this out. Now, we have an airbag light illuminated. Let's scan the system one more time. Ooh, can't talk to the airbag controller now. And the whole car is filled with this burning electrical smell. So, running more than 10 amps through there, it took up to 20 amps and something got fried. Airbags. Let's take a look at the power distribution diagram for the ignition fuse, see what it feeds. So looking at the OE diagrams, I found an ignition 10 amp fuse and it doesn't tell you what it feeds. Let's take a look at the redrawn diagrams. There's our ignition 10 amp fuse and it feeds engine controls. We saw those yellow wires, anti-theft, shift lock interlock, supplemental restraint system. Very interesting. Let me pull up a diagram of the airbags now and see where those wires go. Alright, so airbag system diagrams. There's our ignition 10 amp fuse. And it goes either to the airbag sensor assembly center and then off to the next page to the occupant classification ECU. Okay. And is the occupant classification ECU on the CAN network? No, it looks like it just talks to the main airbag sensor assembly. So let's find the locations of these and do a visual inspection, see if something burned up. It smells like a module smell, and you know, when the test lights were getting bright and dim, that's not a wire shorting the ground. That would not cause this module burning electrical smell. It's a computer problem. We need to go to these control modules. Alright, so to get to this airbag control unit, it's located in the center console. Right there. And you have to tear apart the entire console, dash, instrument cluster, finish panel, garnish, da. Holy crap. Console box duct, and you'll see it right there. So I have enough evidence to say that the airbag module is fried. It could have gotten some water intrusion in it, who knows, but I'm not going to waste my time tearing the whole dash apart just to find a smoked module. We have enough evidence that that is indeed the problem. Airbag light came on, now the module's offline. Really bad computer electronics burning smell. So I'll tell the shop here, get that module out, do a visual inspection on it. It'll probably smell really bad. And then that's it. So that's the end of the diagnosis. airbag control module was blowing the ignition fuse, which caused the crank no start, no comm with the engine computer. Pretty neat. So you always want to verify, you know, like, hey, there's no short to ground, but it came back and it smoked the module. So that was part of the diagnosis, was, hey, airbag module is gone. You know, it was shorting, and then finally we fed more than 10 amps through it. Not necessarily recommended, but it let out the smoke, so now we definitely know what the problem is. So it kind of worked out. Thanks a lot for watching. If there's an update, I'll do a follow-up, but we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.